Policymakers are concerned that our best teachers are not working with the students who need them the most. Is it possible to identify high-performing teachers and induce them to transfer into struggling schools by offering them a bonus? A new study, commissioned by the U.S. Department of Education's Institute of Education Sciences, tested this idea. The intervention, known to study participants as the Talent Transfer Initiative, was launched in 2009 and eventually included 10 school districts in 7 states. It offered $20,000 to high-performing teachers, those who ranked in the top 20% in their grade and subject, to transfer to low-performing schools. Steve Glazerman is a senior fellow at Mathematica Policy Research and a lead author of the study.
First, we wanted to find out if these high-performing teachers would be willing to transfer to low-performing schools. Then the central question is, if they do transfer, what impact do they have on their students' test scores? And finally, we looked at whether they would be willing to stay after 2 years when the bonus payments weren't there anymore.
To answer these questions, the study team set up a randomized experiment.
Picture a large, economically diverse school district with one set of schools serving relatively high-achieving students and another where test scores are chronically low. Within this district, we can identify the top-performing teachers as those with the highest value-added scores, meaning the teachers were able to raise their students' test scores consistently year after year. Now, these teachers received $20,000 paid out over 2 years if they would transfer to one of the low-performing schools that was part of the program. Meanwhile, we identified all the low-performing schools that had teaching vacancies in selected grades and subjects and randomly assigned the grade teams within those schools to either a program group where the principal had the opportunity to hire from the high-performing teaching pool, or to a control group where the principal fills the vacancy the way they normally would.
The study found that 88% of the targeted vacancies were filled by these top teachers. The research team followed the teachers and their students for 2 years and compared outcomes for the program group with those from the control group. Focusing on the classrooms targeted by the transfer incentive, the study found no differences between the program and control groups in middle schools. But in elementary schools, test scores were 10 to 25% of a standard deviation higher for students in the program group, equivalent to increases of 4 to 10 percentile points for their state. They also found that the transfer incentives helped schools retain their top teachers. 93% of the program group teachers stayed in their new schools after the first year. By the 3rd year, when the bonus payments had stopped, the program group still had 60% of their original teachers.
So what do these impacts translate into in real terms? Well, we calculated the cost that a school district would face to implement the transfer incentives for each grade team within a given school, and then asked how much would the district have to spend on some other intervention to generate the same test score gains as those we reported in our experiment. We used the example of reducing class size, which requires hiring and paying more teachers. Under most scenarios we looked at, transfer incentives were the cheaper option. The cost savings could be more than $7,000 per teaching team and over $13,000 if we focus on just the results for elementary schools, where the impacts were more concentrated. Considering that most of the teachers in the program group stayed beyond their 2-year commitment, this one-time investment in selective transfer incentives could continue to benefit struggling schools well beyond the 2 years in our study.